following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download. It's Tuesday's Dirty Air, and TJ's here, my co-host. How's it going, TJ?
It's going really good. Well, how's things going?
Man, it is going. We got a busy week. I'm headed to New York City this week to talk about the Earnhardt documentary, the 4-part series that's coming out on Amazon, and pretty excited about that. It's worth it. It's worth a watch. It's worth the time. But we got a premiere of that coming up soon, which will be pretty fun. Some of the industry will be getting together to watch the first episode of that. But after the trip to New York City, I come home and then go right into the booth to work the races for the Cars Tour this weekend. I believe on Thursday night, our pro class, our pro late models are going to be racing 75 laps at North Wilkesboro on flow, and I'll be in the booth with Eric, who's our lead or who's one of our play-by-play guys with Blake McCandless in the booth. But Eric, me, and Harvick are going to be in the booth on flow Thursday evening for the pro late model Cars Tour 75 lapper at North Wilkesboro. Then Friday night, it'll be simulcast. That means it'll be on both Flow and Fox Sports 1. That'll be the late model stock part of the Cars Tour event in North Wilkesboro.
Big network.
Yeah.
You nervous?
No. 100 laps for the late model stocks. And it's the all-star weekend around Wilkesboro. Big deal. So to have us, they got the modifieds there. It's great for the modifieds. And we've also been part of this weekend for a couple of years now, and it is massive for the Cars Tour to be able to be there. Whether we're racing on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the closer we can race to the All-Star event and is the better, because more fans are coming into town. More fans are going to be able to see what we're doing and get a taste of what this series is all about. And so I think we are over 40 entries for the late model stock. Probably might cap out around 45. And our pro late model class is nearing the 30 car entry mark. So, man, 70 plus cars for our two classes. I'm pretty happy with that. Big deal for the Cars Tour to be racing this weekend at Wilkesboro. Again, I'll be in the booth for both shows. You can watch both the pro and the late model stock Thursday and Friday night on Flow, but you can also see the late model stocks Friday live on Fox Sports 1.
I'm looking forward to it. So you know how it is when you traveled. If there was another series at the track, you like to go watch like modifieds raced at Loudon. Yep. You always like to kind of keep an eye on that. Mm-hmm. Being at the track, knowing the late models are going to be there, it's kind of like talked about in the garage area. Like, hey, you going to the late model race? You're going to be there for that? Like, so people are excited about it. The industry is excited for it.
I'm glad. All the great drivers coming out of the Cars Tour. Corey Heim, Josh Berry, Carson Quapple. Butterbean.
Another win this weekend for him. Time to get an Xbox.
Caden Honeycutt. Bunch of good talent coming out through the series. If you want to be, if you want to have a chance to kind of be racing in front of the right people and get attention on what you're able to do behind the wheel of a race car. Plus, I think the Cars Tour is the best place to earn racecraft. Tell me another series out there. I'll put it up against any of them in terms of trying to just teach somebody how to race and get through an event.
Learning how to race
across the finish line
doesn't happen much these days for a lot of kids that are coming up. They get into super fast cars, and then you get to an ARCA car or something, and you lead every lap. You don't learn anything leading every lap. Yeah. Like, you just don't learn any racecraft.
I think Carson Hocevar's badass talent, but I wonder what the general perception might be of him had he came through the Cars Tour and learned how to, how to not piss everybody off.
Yeah, did he drive a race car or did he drive a snowplow in the Cars Tour? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I don't know what that reference is, TJ.
Well, he likes to hit a lot of stuff.
I know. Well, he would learn to stop that quick in our series.
Some people don't like to learn, though.
Well,
I know exactly what you mean, though. Yeah.
Hey.
Cars Tour.
Let's move on. Cars Tour. One more time. Cars Tour.
Cars Tour.
Let's move on. I could say that all day long. We could do an hour of that. Cars Tour. you asked me if I was nervous about being in the booth. I did a little rehearsal for Amazon, and we did
how'd that
one.
go?
It went good. We'll talk about it later in the show. We did one for TNT earlier, weeks ago, and so both of those, I don't want to talk about it too much because Travis will get upset.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of fun.
Are they similar when you do them though? Are they very similar, or are they two different landscapes?
Well, but I want to say, and a lot of people might not have caught this. I was in the booth doing the pro late model race at Orange County a couple weeks ago, accidentally. I didn't really intend on doing that, but
ended up in there for a while.
Yeah, and so I feel pretty good about doing this pro and late model stock race for the car store, and I went over and did Harvick's podcast this week. We talked about that a little bit. Man, that was interesting. We talked about everything.
Really?
We did like a 30-minute interview, and we were all over the place.
Can't imagine.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I'm curious watching Harvick kind of get into this broadcast and stuff.
Yeah, and how his stuff flows.
Listening to and seeing how he does an interview and all that. And but it was fun, and I was thankful for them to ask me to come over and do that. But we are, we're gearing up, getting ready because I go to work here soon. We got the All-Star race in Wilkesboro, and then I'm working.
Then it's back to...
But we're not talking about that till later in the show.
Not until later.
Yeah.
Can't do it, Travis.
There's something going on in Ash Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denny Bros gets mad.
Denny Bros will be mad if we ruin Ash Jr. But
he's mad now.
He is mad.
I'm not mad.
He's annoyed with
mad fans just were asking about, so we're saving for Ash Jr.
Okay. All right, so let's react to Kansas. Can I talk about this? So I was doing a practice broadcast. Is that okay?
Yeah.
It's okay. Let me know when I've gone too far, Travis.
Okay.
I was doing a practice broadcast for Amazon. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I was doing a practice broadcast for Amazon with Steve Letarte and Adam Alexander, and we were over at the NASCAR building next to the Concord Airport. And so I watch all the races, obviously, but we were broadcasting this one. We did it from start to finish, and I really enjoyed this race. I know a lot of people, so Larson wins the pole, sweeps the stages, wins the race.
Yeah.
But honestly, and there's some, people thinking, I see people on social media and even people in our industry talking about an ass whooping. I didn't see it that way. Honestly, there were some points in the race where particularly Chase Elliott took control of the race, and I know Brad drove up there and passed him, Larson. I know Brad was on flat, low air pressure, hacking away to run those fast lap times. It ended up biting him in the ass. Good job, TJ.
Yeah.
But still, Larson at that point in the race looked like, hey man, what's going? You better get your together here.
Barely top 5.
Not dominant.
Yeah.
Not an ass kicking. And so they had to go to work, get control of the race back, and there was a restart where Logano just about cleared him. Now, I don't know if Logano had enough race car to stay there if he were to get the lead. And then on the final 15 laps of the race, Blaney and Josh Berry outpaced the 5 car by 5 to 6 seconds.
Yeah.
It was crazy how fast those 2 cars were at the finish. And I was watching at the end too. The 5, I thought the 5 was shredding a tire, kind of like Hocevar did. Hocevar had a flat with about 3 to go. Whew, that was a close call for everybody because if he brings that yellow out, they don't want to do that. Be Inspire and the connection.
Did he not have a problem coming on there at the end?
No.
He just slowing down.
Yeah, he thought he did have vibration.
Yeah.
There's tons of rubber that builds up on the inside of the wheel and all over the car. By this point, you could see it flying off the car. And I thought, yes, the tire's unraveling or the tire's down to the cords. But apparently that was not the case. He was panicking a little bit inside the car. He wasn't saying anything over the radio, but he was losing pace, slowing down intentionally.
He was, and that's usually the sign of...
in protect mode.
Oh, yeah.
He thought he wasn't sure if he might be in the cord.
Yeah.
And but apparently he was fine, at least on the right front, the right rear.
I don't think he had
out.
A very good at the end. I don't think he was the best long run car at the end of the race.
He wasn't even the best long run car at the middle of the race. That's how Chase ran him down.
Yeah, and passed him.
Yeah, right, because he was he was struggling there if they went long.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, the stages were in such a way that they could split them in half, and he never really had to push the car into that area where he struggled on the long run. But there were a couple moments when they did, and that was
there was a handful of cars that weren't very good in the long run.
Yeah.
And just to tell you the difference from the beginning of the race, because we started in the very back working on the car. We had to go to the tail end
humble
anyway.
brag right there. We started in the back.
The very back.
Drove up to second.
I'm just second. But your lap time difference
exploded a tire.
We exploded it. The lap time difference is 4 to 7 tenths a lap from whenever you're in the top 2 or 3 to where you're in the pack.
Should have thought about that. When you got up front, you should have thought about that and adjusted your air pressure.
Yeah, we should have slowed down, I guess, or done something.
You could just put more air in the tire.
Well, maybe I had too much.
Going faster, you're going to load it more. So the race was entertaining because to me it wasn't clear that Larson was just going to win easily, and there were in the final stages a lot of restarts and opportunities for other people to try to take advantage of that. There were some really, really good races going on between drivers from second on back throughout most of the day. Of course, the restarts are always bonkers, tons of fun to watch. 3 and 4 wide, a lot of guys.
It's so nuts there.
It is.
It's so nuts.
So
Kansas was being punished for last year's race, how great it was, and this one wasn't equal. So it's not a good race. But no, it doesn't have to be that great to be good.
I don't know why it wasn't a good race.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
To me, that race was prototypical NASCAR. If I showed up with no expectations, I'd been a satisfied fan. To your point, Travis, we were all like, oh, man, just like Charlotte. Charlotte has been insanely good, right? So I'm going into the 600 going, it's ought to be, I'm expecting to be entertained.
Yep.
No problem. Now, I agree. I'm not going to argue Kansas wasn't as entertaining as it had been in the past, but it was still.
What was so much better before, though?
There was some more drama-filled finish. Cars crossing the finish line, closest finish in history.
But you can't have that every single race.
And Denny said,
no one. Yeah, I agree with you.
It's not Larson's fault that the other drivers screwed up.
That's another thing. That's another thing. So, there were some comments from some drivers. Larson was one of them, and Blaney was one of them. And listen, so there's been some duds there's been like 6 or 7 duds of a race, right, up until Texas. Texas was pretty entertaining, right? But before Texas, we had like a stretch of races on Jeff Gluck's good race poll that was like 50 and below. And that was real. There was real concern from fans. It was genuine. It was a genuine complaint, right? And somebody said to Larson, "You looking forward to coming to Kansas after the last several weeks? How the racing's been kind of ho-hum." And he's like, him and a couple other drivers, Blaney included, were like, well, races, if a guy kicks ass doesn't mean it's a bad race. Nobody's complaining about ass kicking. Nobody ever did complain about Larson or anyone else kicking ass and just kicking pure ass all day long. Nobody's ever.
I think that's
Nobody complained about that. Like, I don't know where Larson and Blaney are going with that comment, because nobody complained about the ass kicking. What we complained about are the things that the drivers were complaining about and have been complaining about. The car doesn't race well at the short tracks. The car is difficult in dirty air. It's amazing at the 1.5 miles, and so we're excited to go to Kansas and Charlotte and all the 1.5 miles because it's good there. But it doesn't really race well in some other areas. Or, we come out of Talladega, and it was, there's a lot of comments from drivers about how it races at Daytona and Talladega. All the fans just agree with that. That's all we're doing, is just agreeing with what we're hearing from drivers. We see the race play out at a short track or Talladega. We see a product that we not really entirely in love with. The drivers get out and tell us why it looks that way, and we go, okay, great, we agree. So I was a little bit confused by that. Nobody was ever really complaining that somebody's kicking too much ass. But if Larson's been insane this year, and if he continues to be, I think the purists and the fans who truly, enjoy the sport will appreciate a good ass kicking. But so that was interesting, I guess, the comments. And I'm just reading them from text on a Twitter app, out of context, no tone. I'm not there listening to it. But did you guys have an opinion about that at all?
I know. I think it's right. I think there's valid concern at some of the places like short tracks and the super speedways where the racing just doesn't get as good as it could be, or we have experienced in the past. I do think Kansas and the 1.5 miles are really good races now. I think these guys are so precise with their passes, and the windows that they're clearing cars and the windows that they're positioning these cars in is insanely tight. The
drivers have been on the lead front about the short track package, about Daytona and Talladega, about listen, the car can be great everywhere. It's just trying to figure out what that combination is that it needs to be a good short track car, or to be a better super speedway or Daytona Talladega car, so it doesn't have, you can pull out and make moves and do what you want at the end of the race instead of having to stay in line. So the drivers have been at the lead front of that debate, and I just feel like that was a missed opportunity for them to continue to carry on that tune. And they pawned it off onto this narrative that doesn't even exist around people saying that the races are boring because somebody's dominating them. I know that people have said that about Larson because he does dominate races from time to time, more often than most.
But the racing's good.
He led a ton of laps. He has led more laps than anybody this year. 200, but coming into Kansas, he was 200 laps more than the next guy in laps led, his teammate William Byron. He doubled that on the field. He was up 200 laps. I think he had 596 laps total led or something like that. He goes into Kansas and added another 200 or something. So,
an easy 200.
Nobody's complaining about that. We all know he is literally in the conversation for the greatest driver currently in the world. And so to see him go dominate is not a shock, or a disappointment. And I thought, the race, I didn't understand that kind of, that was like a Friday conversation going on social media that I saw a lot of, right? I really didn't understand that. But, the summer stretch will be different. We're at Kansas, go to Charlotte. There's a lot of intermediates, Michigan, Pocono. It's like we go bam, back to back to them damn tracks in the summer. It's the oddest thing. They put Pocono almost a month apart.
We got a really good stretch of races coming up.
You remember back when we used to race Pocono twice, and it was literally like
a month apart.
30 days apart?
Yeah, it was.
And you'd kick ass in the first one, take the exact same back, and couldn't even be running in top 10.
We did win both of them the one year, though.
But, we got road course. Got all kinds of things going on in the summer, so this conversation will quell somewhat till we get back to
a couple in a row,
Daytona, Talladega, and do some more like that.
Yeah. It doesn't help when they're back to back, like when you go to a super, like a Martinsville, and then back to back it with like a something else that doesn't race good.
So, do you think the bigger problem is it's also the same people winning?
Well, that's I don't know. Not really. I don't feel like that. It's that.
I don't feel like it's that bad.
I don't feel like it's that repetitive.
I don't either.
Like we got the big three dominating.
You always have that.
We got in the note it says big three dominating. That used to be drivers. Now we're going to be talking about organizations.
It's true.
Used to be drivers. Just a couple years ago, it was Truex, Kyle Busch, and Harvick winning like 80% of the races one year.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're nowhere near that. And you still have, you still have the the potential for, you still have potential for guys, new guys. There was a point in that race yesterday or Sunday where there was a ton of dudes in the top 10 that hadn't won races or were about to have some seriously respectable results. And you see Spire with Hocevar and those guys kind of creeping up into the top 10. So I think that if it was just like, if the top 10 looked the same every week and the guys running first and second and third, yeah, then you'd have an argument. But anyhow, Larson wins the race. Pretty compelling drama and storyline throughout the day. Byron had a tire issue early. He probably screwed over a bunch of people's bets by messing up. I know it wasn't really his fault. But, they got bit by the tire bug. So NASCAR changed the left side tire. The team showed up in practice. They went out there, and everybody's having left rear tires go down. So everybody in the garage went, we got to put a little more air in the left side tire. So, because if the lower they run the tire pressure, the more the car will travel, that gets the diffuser close to the ground, it creates more downforce. They've probably got everything they can in the suspension to be able to get the car low as they can get it now. The only thing left is taking air out of the tire. They do that, but eventually the tire will fail. And so they have to find out where that line is. And as NASCAR changes the tire, that number, that air pressure number, that sweet spot changes. And the teams also have to think about, so when the car's cold, all the brakes, everything's cold, you're going to go out on the racetrack and by lap 4, air pressure is going to be X. Well, when you go into the race and you get everything hot, and then you throw on a set of tires in the middle of the race, just rolling around under caution, you're going to build a pound of pressure. Yeah. So now you got to be thinking about things, little dynamic things like that. So you can pull more air out, get a little more aggressive. Whoa, we're too far, blowing left rear tire, hit the wall. So that's what the teams are doing all day at Kansas and some of these other 1.5 miles with this tire. But you saw a lot of issues in the first practice. Everybody saw it. Everybody fixed their second practice, race, not a ton of problems. Teams get aggressive in the race. Couple teams get bit. That gets the field's attention. Everybody starts, getting back conservative again. Late in the race, teams get more aggressive. It's the last run of the day. Boy, we're going to swing for the fences. Speeds are faster because it's 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Fastest part of the day for the racetrack. Late in the race, people start having tire issues again. It's a fun thing. I think that's a fun dynamic.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. I know that Goodyear doesn't love it because they probably catch a little for it, but it's not their fault. No. It's the teams being very aggressive with air pressures.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Well, and
have to be.
Think about in this next-gen car, there's very few things that the teams can tinker with. True. So, this is something that a team can try to gain an advantage, and I like that.
Yeah. Safety culture helps businesses stay on top of the details in their data and processes so that they can focus on improving. Whether your business is big or small, it can be easy to lose track of all these details. Our friends at Trackhouse Racing, they use safety culture so that they have the confidence every detail is always covered. Safety culture is purpose-built for 80% of the blue-collar workforce, the people that are out there working hard each and every day, from factories to stores, even those shops as big as Trackhouse Racing. Every detail is tracked, and everyone has full visibility to make sure nothing gets missed because the workers on the ground, they know what's happening the best. Safety culture makes it easy to share those insights, giving visibility to other departments all in real time. That means you and your team get the job done faster, you make better decisions, and you're constantly finding ways to improve so that you can spend your time more wisely where it counts. If you want to see how it can help your business earn the pole position, head over to safetyculture.com/SVG. In practice, it looked like Denny Hamlin might be the best. Denny Hamlin has been incredible at Kansas in terms of just sheer speed. I put him against anybody at Kansas over the last several years. He got 4 wins there. In the next gen, he's been really good. Just can't seem to put it all together for whatever reason in the last couple of trips. But
this one.
Go get on defend him. I'm going to let you in. I'm going to let you in. Calm down. Beating on the door here to defend his buddy. So, we don't have many mechanical failures like that. And that's literally the first clutch failure of any kind that I've really heard about. But I'm sure there's more to the story and nothing nefarious, just an odd occurrence. I mean, these things are kind of like tanks in terms of the nuts and bolts these days.
How they're built really well.
Yeah. So just a really unfortunate deal for Denny. But going to the big three dominating, I thought about this. So when we were doing our little Amazon practice broadcast, before the broadcast, they said, "What's your driving thought?" You know, they go to each broadcaster, each analyst, and say, what are you paying attention to? And I was like, well, I feel like, we used to talk about the big three when I came into broadcasting. That was kind of always a storyline. Who are the dominating drivers? Well, I think the big three has changed to now it's organizations. With this race car, it's like when one team figures it out, the whole organization moves forward because the cars are so similar. And the way they set them up, when one finds something very good, they all just do it, and the drivers have to adapt to it and drive it that way. They set it up to go fast, and that's the fast way for this car to go, and you figure it out and go out there and drive it. And so I think that the big three has now shifted to organizations, obviously Hendrick, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Penske. And out of the gate this year and still today, I really feel like that Penske has been the most consistent team to be at the top of the speed charts. And they were fast at Kansas. They were fast at Kansas in the fall. I think Blaney had the best car for most of that race.
If you were to rank the Penske cars, what would you rank them right now?
Blaney, Josh Berry, Logano, Cindric.
Okay. That's
I know Berry's technically the Wood Brothers, but it's Blaney assisted enough. I mean, it's a Penske assisted car. I call it a Penske car, but equipment wise, it's
for sure.
Yeah. And so I'll put him in this group. The Wood Brothers, very prideful people, no disrespect, but there is a connection there, and I have to include him.
Oh, for sure.
So,
and it shows.
Yeah. I think that Hendrick, up until this race, this is my opinion before the race, Penske was the fastest, which is odd because usually that's them at the end of the year. I don't know what that means for them at the end of this year because they're rarely this quick early in the season. Hendrick is the most consistent and very boring, right? Now, Larson's kicking ass, right? Having a great year, running good, got great statistics. Just mile and a half is amazing. He's dominating at the mile and a half. His mile and a half average finish is like 4.5 or some. The next best driver is 10th. The next best driver's best average finish at a mile and a half is 5 spots worse.
Was that Seabell?
It was Byron. I don't know what Byron. It is after this race. It was Byron before. But he had a bad day, so maybe somebody else has jumped into the second spot in average finish at mile and a half this year. But it's still a lot. 5 positions. Whew. So, excluding Larson, HMS has been very monotonous, just prodding.
Chase is 4th in points and not a win.
Yeah, right.
Bowman's 8th.
Yes. And now, so I would say that they're kind of the number 2 team, and Gibbs to me I know that Seabell's been awesome, but they're up and down, up and down. And here lately, they've kind of been more down than up. And so they're all very close, right? I'm not saying there's a massive advantage for one or the other. They're the 3 teams that I look at. Now, you'll have a track house that'll pop off and get a top 5 or some maybe even win a race. 23-11, same thing, but they're the B teams. They're second-tier teams to me.
I'm surprised you put Penske in front of Hendrick still because we went to a couple tracks.
This was before the race, TJ.
Well, I'm saying even in general because we would
I would change my mind after watching that Kansas race.
I thought that Penske would have a little bit more speed, especially Martinsville. Like Blaney would lead 490 of laps at Martinsville, and honestly, Homestead, I feel like they've been better there, and they didn't get the finish.
He blew up.
So
Blaney blew up.
Phoenix.
They dominate Phoenix.
Usually.
Yeah. At the end of the year, not at the start of the year.
I mean, I just expect.
I think they've been good this year, better than they normally have in the first half of the year. After this race, though, I got to say it's about even now. I mean, has Hendrick, I know it's one damn race, and this sport sort of ebbs and flows week to week. Every damn week we got a new.
Does.
Every week
which
we got
is awesome.
We got a new championship favorite every 2 weeks. But That's a fun conversation for me, is to like rank the teams, grade the teams, judge the organizations, because this next gen car and how it's such a kit car has made that conversation relevant. And so, after the end of that race, I guess even during the middle of that race, when Chase Elliott drove to the front of the field, I'm like, this is impressive. I haven't seen this speed out of this car. I haven't seen this kind of speed out of many of the HMS cars outside of Larson. But Bowman drove up to the front of the field early in the race. Byron was probably going to be a contender had the tire not, blown.
They were strong.
They were strong, man.
They were strong. Yeah, Bowman still had a great day.
I think that looks good for them going into Charlotte. I really do. I think we'll see somewhat similar speeds and performance from these organizations at the next race, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Charlotte will be similar to Kansas.
Yeah. What do you make of the angry drivers? Seemed like a lot of people were on edge.
Well, so I like listening to this, and the point that I had with this, you can understand it, but like guys that are just struggling, you can tell they're struggling by their radios. Like Kyle, I mean, he has struggled. You can tell by his reactions. Like,
listen, I watched the in-car with Kyle, and I saw it also with a lot of people. We have these statistics that we get from Racing Insights, and they grade the drivers from, the best, the second best, the third best, the worst. They're all graded in passing, pit road,
defense,
and speed. Defense is now a statistic. We used to just say, man, Newman's hard to pass. Or Joe Logano blocked the out of you at Daytona and Talladega. Just reckless blocking, right? We used to just say this guy fits in this category.
Mm-hmm.
But now we go, well, he's the sixth best defender, or he did the best this week at defending. And that's a real stat now.
Oh, yeah.
They have the digital camera in the car, and they know at a mile and a half or anywhere else, really, if they see a guy in the mirror and he's not in their lane, if they just drive in, if they just pull in front of him, he's screwed.
Mm-hmm.
He is because the air stops going under that car to the diffuser, and it just takes all the air and downforce away from that driver. And so defense is now maybe the most important strategy.
Yeah, you got to retain your position.
Yeah. And so, that's interesting. It's entertaining. Is it what I prefer? No, not really. I'd love it if the guys that are faster could just drive right up to the back bumper and knock the guy in the ass and move on. But, the way this car is, we're not going to get that next week at Charlotte, or when we go back to points racing at Charlotte. We're not, we got to talk about
when you were driving, if you put your car in front of another guy on an inch of the corner, you were getting loose.
I had to be careful to drive. If I was going to drive across his nose, he could definitely
manipulate the air to his advantage.
I'm putting myself in a bad position because he could definitely get right, lift me up, and the air going around his nose is so condensed, it almost acts like a rubber bumper where he doesn't even have to touch me, and he can kind of move my car loose.
You could play offense though, like use it.
Yeah, I didn't want to drive down across somebody's nose because it was going to take my car out of the racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that the way they got to drive these cars now is worth talking about. But watching that in-car is so frustrating. Like, you can sense why the drivers get frustrated. They're driving through the corner, throttle up, and then they come up off of turn 4 and cross the wake of the car in front of them and have to jump out of the gas because the right front's about to knock the wall down. Because as soon as he crosses that wake, it shuts the air off to the diffuser. And everything else, the whole car loses air. And so that, to me, is too extreme. They still race like hell. If you're looking at it just from the grandstand point of view, they're racing like hell. Looks awesome. Looks awesome. But if you plug your ass in the seat and ride with one of those guys, it's frustrating to watch when they have to jump out of the gas because they crossed the wake of some car, or this guy or a guy saw them running that lower line and they drove down across them in front of them, right? You'll see them. They'll go down in the corner.
Oh, terrible.
Guy goes into the middle of the corner, right, leading the race. And he drives into the middle because he's going to say, all right, man, I know the guy behind me is going to either go low or high. And if wherever that guy goes, especially if you're Ross Chastain, you drive up in front of him or drive down in front of him, right? Ross is the best at it, one of the best defenders, as we say. He sees that, he drives in the corner, in the middle of the corner, looks in the mirror, he says, oh, you want to go low? I'll go low. And he drives down in front of them, and they can't finish the throttle. And so it's an art. It's fun to watch somebody, defend and block and take air away. It's not how I prefer my stock car racing to be, but it's what we're going to have when we go to Charlotte and go forward until something really major changes in the car. And so,
well, remember a handful of years ago at Kansas, this is one of the biggest defending moments that I can remember, is whenever Kevin Harvick had a car that was the fastest car all day, 4/10 faster. And we held him off for 40 laps by doing
Joe Logano.
You run the big arc into the corner, wait for him to go to the bottom because you took away the top because you're running a ridiculous arc, and you just turn down in front of it, and his nose slides up.
I went to I think it was 1999. We went to Japan, flat racetrack, Motegi, big. It's a giant New Hampshire.
Yeah,
really flat. NASCAR was playing with the spoilers and the valence, and they had a 6 and 6 rule, so 6-inch front ride height, 6-inch rear spoiler. And so it had terrible front downforce by itself and a lot of blade on the back. When you got behind the car, you lost all the front and you didn't lose as much back. And so this feels, and it was awful. Like when we drove down in the corner behind somebody, you even if your car was turning better, working better, you just slid the fronts across the racetrack and the guy just drove away. And you couldn't get within 2 car lengths of nobody. And so it kind of reminds me of that. It's too extreme. So I can kind of understand the frustration from the drivers as they're trying to figure out how to get to the finish of this race and get a good result. There's some cars, though, that do really well in traffic. I mean, at the end of that race, the 21 Barry was driving right by fools. It was wild how much speed he had. Blaney had that kind of speed, too, at the end.
And he had it set up for a longer run, too. Yeah. And the cool part about these mile and a half now with this car is the multiple grooves. Yeah. If you go, like if I catch you and you run the top and my car is good, I can still run below you.
Yeah.
And get it and, side draft you coming off the exit of the corner.
Hey, TJ, that's a cool new phone you got there. Where'd you get it?
Man, I am actually loving my new phone. I joined the Consumer Cellular family, and, man, they hooked me. And I could not be happier.
How's that been? Because recently when I was at the track, I was in and out with my service. How's it been for you?
Traveling to the track each week with the RFK 6 team, the being connected is super important, and it could not have been better at the track. I am super happy I made this switch, and it's so simple to do. This is the biggest part. I could not believe how simple it was to do. I called, and it was probably about 20 minutes on the phone. Super easy to make the switch.
Well, you've got me sold, but now my question is, how do I make the change, though, so I can move on with Consumer Cellular?
If you want to join the Consumer Cellular family, great nationwide coverage. You call their 100% U.S.-based customer service representatives, and in about 20 minutes, like I said, you'll be set up for good. And I chose the 2 for $60 plan. They talked me through each part of the process and helped me decide what was best for me, and I know exactly what I'm paying each month, which is also great. Everything is no long-term contracts and just so easy. And now you can get your second month free, and this is very important, with promo code DJD. Taxes and third-party fees will apply, so check out consumercellular.com for more info, and remember, code DJD.
I saw that conversation that Kyle Busch, and we're going to lean into a lot of what Kyle was saying because he was on Actions Detrimental. We got a lot of great feedback from that race and from Kyle. And him and Denny both had a conversation around the composite bodies ruining the art of racing and passing. Kyle said it's the composite bodies. That's what it is, right? Like everybody just runs into everybody, runs over everybody, hits the wall because we all just bank on the fact that the body's just going to pop back out and we're going to be fine. He's referring to when we drove the steel race cars. If you brush the wall with the steel race car, so they would work on the side of that steel body, flange and create side force right in front of the right rear tire and back at the tailpiece. And if you touch the wall, you took all that out and you lost counts and side force, you lost down force, you lost turn and ability. And so you didn't want to touch the fence. You didn't want to bounce into any other cars or run it. I thought it sucked, honestly. Yeah, I remember in the 80s and 90s, just guys knocking the shit at each other, and it was awesome to watch. And it looked like it was something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Then at some point in the late 2010s, 2012 and on, the bodies became so important, and they were so tweaked and perfected. Even you just got every little thing you could.
Yeah, every part of the car.
If you touched anything with it, it hurt it. It killed the speed and performance, killed the body's ability. And I didn't love that. I thought that sucked because I wanted to race hard. Or I wanted to be able to race somebody hard, and we couldn't touch each other. No
beating and banging.
No beating and banging. And if you did get yourself, you run the wall at a place like Homestead, and if you did run into the fence, you had to run. Your car drove like till you get to pit road, and they pull that out and try to fix it and make it better. But I don't like. This is sound maybe weird. I like the composite bodies because the drivers have been able to get more aggressive with them. In some cases, too aggressive, particularly in the Xfinity series. We destroy cars for no reason because they just they look at the bodies and stuff like just throwaways, and they're not really. They're kind of expensive. But I do miss being able to look at a car and see the damage. So a next-gen car, Bubba Wallace comes off turn 2. Somebody slipped there. Somebody almost busted their ass in front of him, and he popped the hell out of them, ran right in the back of them off turn 2. Look at the car. They keep going down the straightaway. Look at the car. It's fine. I know inside, around the ductwork and all that, it's bust all that loose. It's hurt his car. He's lost drag. He's added drag. He's lost all his not sealed up, so he's lost horsepower.
Something's moved.
Yeah, air going back into the engine and intake and all that. So I know that it hurt his car, but I can't look at it and see it, and that I don't like. Remember when the next gen first came out and they were so stiff, they would kill the fence, and it looked like it was fine.
Oh yeah, kill the fence.
Yeah, and it just had scratches all over it, but otherwise it didn't change shape. It don't bend and fold up. It does a little bit more now that they've made some adjustments to it to absorb the crashing, but it just
doesn't crinkle.
Don't crinkle. I was so used to seeing a car crash and looking at the car and going, I know just about everything that's probably bent. Mm-hmm. And now I don't feel that way as much. It's harder to see. And so, that Bubba Wallace deal is a perfect example. He's probably got a chance to run, let's say 15th, right, at best at Kansas. Runs in the back of that car off turn 2, hurts his intake and overall hurts the power that the car can create. Probably creates some drag because he's unsealed the body in certain points. And I can't look at it and tell you as a viewer, hey, this is a problem now, and this is why he's going to run 28th today, And so that's the only thing that I don't love about the composite bodies. Otherwise, I like that they race like I know that we give Carson Hocevar a lot of and at times we've gave Chastain some other guys, but I want more of those guys.
Would you like that if you were driving with them?
I want more of those guys out in the field.
You wouldn't say that if they cleaned you out.
What if you were driving, though, and you're not a fan / broadcaster?
That's right. So if I was driving, when I was driving a race car, when I was a race car driver, I was selfish. It was about me. It was about what was good for me. And that's not always what's good for the sport. That's not always what's good for entertainment. That's not always what's good for the fan that bought the ticket. And so that was one of the things that I learned when I got out of the driver's seat and stepped into the booth. I said, holy shit, it is important that this is fun to watch. Like, this has got to be good to watch. And so having a wild card or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 out there that you're not quite sure what kind of decision they're going to make down in the next corner is kind of good. You know, having that guy that's like, hey, man, he's a loose cannon is kind of good when you're, you know, trying to be, you know, entertained. And you're, you know, I think if...
it's the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, and you want to watch because of that.
You got to have a lot. We talk about personalities, and I know that personality conversations kind of driven a lot more toward like what they're doing off the track, but you also need those personalities on the track. You got to have the good guy, the villain, the up. You got to have the guy that just can't get it right. You got to have the guy that's stupid fast but terrible decision maker. You need to have all these different people with all these different variables and throw them all in the bucket.
Yeah, and let them race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Put
agree.
them in the cage and see what happens. And so, you know, I kind of think that's my perspective as a viewer. When I was on the racetrack, I wanted everybody to not run over my ass and stay off me and not up around me, you know. But that's kind of boring.
I agree. That's why, like, Hocevar, after his press conference, he kind of downplaying flipping the bird. I'm like, if you flip the bird,
he can't.
Own it.
He kind of can't. So that's a penalty, or that's a potential for a penalty. So I think that drivers have kind of been programmed to never own up to doing anything wrong or nefarious over the past several years. I don't mind that he didn't own it. And that doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you, because I know that he, by owning it, is opening himself up to some sort of retaliation from NASCAR.
Which is terrible.
And NASCAR is reactive. So if he owns it and there's a big backlash on social media, NASCAR then reacts to that.
Yes.
But can't they say the heat of the moment, like it's not?
You would love for that to be the case.
They've done it before, though, haven't they?
Do you want to be Hocevar and take that chance?
But I feel like they have done many times where it's like, oh, heat of the moment, he said it like.
I wish they would have done that in Talladega, 2004. Heat of the moment.
Explain that.
When I said the word, it was harmless. You know?
No, that's ridiculous.
It is. But that's the you deal with. So are you going to take that chance by what are you, being a tough guy? I spun out on purpose at Bristol, bragged about it. They busted my ass. If I'd have never said nothing, they would have never done nothing about it. Same thing for flipping the bird. We can all see him flipping the bird. We can see it.
Spinning out on purpose and flipping the bird are not the same.
I mean, I saw it from
my
the
point,
roof.
Now, I know they're not the same. I'm not saying they're the same. I'm just saying if you want to admit to some NASCAR then can act on it.
True.
They've always told us, indirectly told us, don't admit to doing it. We're trying to cut you a break here.
Okay.
And so that doesn't really bother me that much that he didn't own it.
All right, I'll change my opinion on that one.
He could have turned it into a fun joke.
I would have.
I don't know exactly what he said.
He started to like admit, and then he was like, I don't know. Like he kind of faded away, didn't he? I mean, my problem, who is he to be flipping the bird at anybody as much?
I don't know. You know,
he's ran into.
Okay, I got an opinion about that. You know, Lane Riggs. So Lane Riggs goes down into turn 1. He's underneath Hocevar, right?
Yeah, definitely uses him up.
Hey, wrecked them both.
Wow.
Dude, the wall saved Hocevar.
Well, I'd say both of them.
Right.
I mean, really, but yeah.
Nobody thinks that's totally cool. That's cool. I mean, what?
I don't think that's
what
cool,
kind of talent?
But I mean,
how much talent does that take to go down in the corner, drive up the racetrack into the guy's left rear corner panel, damn near wreck both of you?
Yeah.
I'd have flipped his ass off too.
But I mean, the guy, if you switch the trucks and put the Carson on the inside, Lane on
that's definitely a Carson move.
It's going to be the same thing. You
think Carson would? Yes, I'm not arguing
he
that.
did it. Yeah,
so
100%.
That's why,
I think
so you're not allowed to flip someone off because you've done it before.
I mean, they're
who's arguing what now? Are you now on Carson's side?
Yeah.
I'm on Carson's side for the bird.
Flip-flopping.
No.
For the sake of argument.
Well, first I admitted that I was wrong on his press conference because what you said.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, is he not allowed to give the bird because he?
I would have flipped him off too after that over in turn 2 that Riggs pulled.
TJ.
I mean, I don't blame him for flipping him off, but Carson's has wrecked many cars over the last 2-3 years, and I don't see anybody acting at that level, like flipping him off.
There's been a lot of said about him.
But you don't see it like that. Like,
wait, so because no one's ever flipped him off, he can't flip off somebody?
I didn't say he can't flip him off. I just said
Carson took a lot of
I think
rightly so, deservingly.
Carson's been doing this long enough now to me. And
but the thing that bothers me, if we want to get on Carson's ass, the thing that bothers me is he called Riggs a kid. Riggs is older than him.
Riggs isn't a kid.
Is he already like is he self-appointing himself some sort of veteran?
Hey, where'd Riggs come from?
I'm asking the question. Now, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that.
That's
right?
a power move. Yeah. The only thing that could have been worse if he called him like buddy or like sport.
Man, that kid's gonna win a lot of races.
Yeah.
What the dude?
You're
a kid.
Is that him saying I'm in cup and you're not? Like,
that was a very egotistical move.
I love it.
I don't. I think it's an asinine way to look at it.
It's awful.
It's an asinine way to look at things. Riggs is older than him, and I know that Riggs is not in cup, but in terms of like, I don't know, ability, talent, I don't really set them too far apart.
No, you could take the numbers out the truck, and we probably wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, but I think you could put Riggs in the 77 and eventually get reasonable results.
100%. But
I just don't think Carson's earned that opportunity to. I don't know that he even meant it as a dig.
Oh, well then.
No, I think he really believes in his head that guy's a kid and he's this veteran of the Cup Series. That is what's wild to me.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah. It's preposterous. I don't think he was trying to make a dig. I think he was just going like, a dig either. Oh, that kid, he's going to be fine. You guys.
You think he's 18 years old in the Truck Series?
Yeah. Oh, Riggs, he'll be fine. He's going to win his share of races, that kid. I'm like, kid. Dude. You're still a kid. You ain't too far from that crazy ass you were pulling in Phoenix in that championship final. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean,
like all that wild was going on.
What a crazy kid he was back then.
Man.
Wait, how old do you think these two are?
Oh, Hocevar is probably
26,
22, 23.
Oh, he's younger than that.
I'm being told they're both 22.
These kids these days, we can call them
So does
kids.
that change it now?
No,
he's right. They're almost identical.
They're nearly in the same place in their lives. I know that Carson's in Cup and Riggs is in Truck, but they're both, they're both still at the very early stages of their careers.
Yeah. If you change the pass, I fully believe Lane could look just like Carson in that Cup car.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that.
My problem with Carson is he needs to be finishing these races off now. Like last week at Texas, running and
he had a good run going Sunday.
And he had a good run going at Texas though too, and he threw it away. Like he just drives somebody up the hill and run him into the fence. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I need to see him growing from these moments because he's made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And we keep seeing the same mistakes. That's my question.
Well, I hear you. But I don't have a whole lot of confidence that that's going to happen anytime soon. I think that it will. Yeah. But I'm telling you, man, we expect way too much out of these guys. We put them in Cup cars.
We do.
At 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. And there'll be the anomaly that comes in, kicks ass. It makes no sense, but they're just badass.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a maturity thing up here in their head. Has a lot to do with just how mature they are in terms of judgment and decision making. But most people are 22-year-olds, right? And they're gonna up.
They're gonna act like that.
And it's gonna be too big for them. It's gonna be too big for them, and they're gonna up a lot. And if you can be patient with a guy like Hocevar, the 26-year-old Hocevar will be the driver that you want him to be. But you got to be patient with that. Wait for him to get there. Mm-hmm. Look at Joe Logano. Perfect example. If the right people didn't have the idea to give him a second chance, he's not a 3-time champion. I mean, his deal, I think we all forget just how rough the Gibbs deal went. And how even at the end of that Gibbs deal, when he got sent to Penske, I think even me, all of us were like, yep, boy, that sliced bread didn't work out, did it?
Yeah.
Well, it did work out. He's a badass. He's,
3-time champion now.
Yeah. But I mean, there was a point where I think all of us were kind of like, this ain't going so well. And will it? But the sport was getting younger and younger, going younger and younger. Get these guys in these cars as soon as you can get them in there, and they ain't ready for it. A lot of them aren't. Some, there's the anomalies. But, Hocevar is worth waiting for.
Yeah.
And most of them are. All of them are.
He's got speed, which is the main thing.
Yeah. But can you wait?
Yep.
How long do you think it takes a driver to kind of find his
all different.
footing?
It's different for every person.
What was it like for you?
Well, I came in and won in my 16th start at Texas. Then we won Richmond. Then we won the All-Star race, and I'm like, this is just as easy as the Xfinity Series. And then we got our teeth kicked in the last half of my rookie year, and it was like, okay, I don't know why we were so good out of the gate, but this is really hard all of a sudden. I think 2004 was when it all started to come together. In a perfect world, that 2004 season happens and we continue to build on that. I made some bad decisions. We made some bad decisions personnel-wise that derailed that thing from happening and what it might have been. But so I would say 4 years for me. Byron, 4 years, roughly.
He's a good example.
Logano, another 4 years.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. I mean, it's for some guys. I mean, there's real, true multi-time champions out there that are going to need that 4 years. And if you can be patient and wait, you get paid out. It pays off. But
4 years is a good number.
You're throwing a 20. I at 22,
so much
I did
pressure.
not belong in a cup car. I did not.
Yeah.
I'm glad I wasn't. I would have never panned out. Fun conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We moved all over the place.
Good job, kid.
Good job, Dirty Air.
Good job, kids.
You know that feeling you get when you're watching drivers fight it out on the racetrack, giving it everything they've got for the checker flag? Well, you can capture that feeling forever with cars from Lionel Racing, the official diecast of NASCAR. The ultimate way to celebrate the biggest moments in racing. These diecasts aren't toys, they're authentic, high-quality replicas of your favorite rides from the sport's biggest stars, including myself and the guys on my race team. Whether you're a longtime collector or a fan who's new to the sport, Lionel Racing diecasts bring the heart of racing to your shelf or man cave with incredible detail. They're built with precision, with all the exact decals, logos, and paint schemes you've seen on the actual cars. And trust me, these cars make you feel like you're right there in the middle of it. So head to LionelRacing.com, your favorite racing team shop, or any authorized retailer, and start building your collection today. And don't forget, you can find a wide selection of diecasts at the Lionel stores in Concord Mills near Charlotte Motor Speedway and Opry Mills in Nashville. So what's this caution idea? What
We're talking about
who's they?
Kyle and Denny.
Okay.
We're talking about
Those kids.
if you don't throw your first stage caution until you have 75 consecutive green laps or whatever the number.
I like it.
Whatever, depending on the
sounds like
track.
a Cars Tour. So the Cars Tour.
Sounds like half the field's going to be a lap down.
The Cars Tour has a deal. I'm going to explain what the Cars Tour does, and then is this similar? I'll ask you. So we have a 125 lap late model stock race, a 100 lap pro late model race. If they go 45 laps of green, the caution comes out. If there's a natural yellow, that clock resets. Is that kind of what they're talking about?
I think so, but it also may have sounded like he was for you're not going to have a stage caution.
Get rid of stage cautions entirely.
Yes,
yeah. You still have a
you pay all your stage points.
Let's explain it to the fan. Let's not all argue.
Okay.
Talk over the top of each other. People are listening to this shit. So no stage break caution. That goes away. You still pay points out at certain moments in the race as we do today. I'm fine with that. Okay? I like people accumulating points during the race. It does create a conversation that I think we need to have around somebody who finished 14th getting 5th place points, or the 5th best points, or the guy even winning the race not having the most points as the guy in 2nd or 3rd because of what happened throughout the race. I don't know if I love all that, but hey, that's another conversation. But anyways, no stage cautions. Still pay out points at certain points in the race as we do today. But there's a lap clock, a lap counter. You run a certain amount of laps green, and if no caution has come out, you throw the yellow. If there's a natural yellow at some point in that mix, it resets the clock. I like that. And that way, I think it changes fuel strategy, all types of things, to be able to get the teams to have to, have to race a little bit. Not that they're not racing now. I'm just saying, I think it would change kind of how we viewed the races too, as a fan.
Yeah, you're not saving fuel.
Yeah, you're not saving fuel because you know exactly what's going on or what's going to happen. It throws a little bit of throws a little bit of uncertainty into it.
I think at some point you might get to a fuel savings deal a little bit.
They're still going to game it.
Yeah, because you're going to.
I like it.
You're going to short fill sometimes for a faster stop, which is going to put you in a different fuel window at times. But so what's the mile and a half number? 75? Like, what did they say?
I think you were saying like 70, 75 for Kansas, maybe. I could be wrong. They were spitball numbers.
First stage was 80 laps.
Yeah.
You're going to throw a yellow with 5 laps to go on the stage? Even though you're not having a stage caution.
If you go green.
I know. So the caution's going to come out at lap 75. You're going to ride around under caution for a couple laps. Then somebody's going to get a bunch of points. And then, you're going to go back to green and...
No. When that's 75, then that would be where that's where you pay your stage at probably then.
Oh.
So you're saying, okay, you're paying points at 75. Caution.
Like if you go...
This is still a stage break.
Are you throwing the yellow or not?
That dang it, you're confusing yourself, Travis.
You're throwing a yellow. If you go 75 consecutive, then there's going to be a yellow. There's your stage.
That's what we're doing already. We're just doing it at 80 laps.
Yeah.
But if you've
not changed a thing.
But if you have a caution on lap 15... you're going to now have to go 75 consecutive green before the next one.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to the end of the stage no matter what, unless there's a natural yellow.
If there's a natural yellow, it resets it, so then you're going to drive through the stage.
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't stop? You're not stopping at the...
Yeah, you're not stopping for the stage.
Unless there's no caution.
Yeah.
I see what they're saying.
Yeah, it's weird.
That is weird.
I kind of like the idea of just... I wouldn't put it so close to the stage.
Yeah, that number can be changed.
Yeah, I wouldn't put this anywhere near where you're going to give the points away. Right? And so if you're going to give points away after, honestly, man, if you're you could move those points to anywhere you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So like if it's what was that race, 200 or something?
67, 267-ish, yeah.
You could move the points to 100, 200, then 267. And then you could say, okay, you're going to get your points at lap 100. Everybody's getting paid some points here. Have some fun. Drop the green, run 75 laps. If no caution comes out, boop, caution.
I don't mind that because
you have a natural yellow, it resets.
How it's set up now is you have a shorter stage, then the longest at the end. I don't mind having a long one in the beginning, like a 100-lapper.
Well,
I don't mind that.
We don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's not a long stage because it's no caution. There's no caution for it.
Yeah, which I'm fine. I mean, I'd rather keep running.
That would be the other thing. This is so confusing to everybody probably listening.
It is.
That would be the other thing is, to TJ's point, that rule of throwing a caution every 75 laps has to go away at some point, so that you do not throw the yellow inside of 50 or 25 laps to go. You could say, all right, if we're at
your last stage caution yellow that you're going to throw is at lap
competition yellow. Let's just not even call it a stage caution anymore at that point.
Competition
because it's not you're not in the stage with it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it at all. I think it's fine. The industry, or I'd say this. The networks want yellows so that they can go to break.
Yeah, the planned stuff makes it easier for them, I'm sure.
The planned stuff makes it easier. And it's a part of it. The networks have a lot of leverage in terms of when we're going to start races and how races is going to look and all that stuff.
I definitely think there might be something to do. A good place to start with this might be somewhere like a plate race, like a super speedway where you just don't stop, don't throw the yellow.
But there'll be some yellows because you got this lap clock.
Well, if you're going to run that. I'm just saying right now, if you were to go to Daytona next and just say, hey, we're just not going to throw the yellow, does that take away some of the fuel stuff? Do you race hard the whole time more, or what do you do?
We had caution-free Talladega races that were fantastic races.
Yeah, let them run.
Yeah. I don't think you have to have yellows at Talladega and Daytona for it to be fun. But they still got to change the car there because you got a guy sitting there running.
Well, it's not going to.
You can't pull out of line because somebody's got so much drag on it. They just send you to the back.
Yeah.
Short tracks bring on the short tempers, and there's also $1 million on the line. The NASCAR All-Star Race roars back to North Wilkesboro Speedway May 15th through May 18th for an action-packed weekend at the 5/8 Mile Bull Ring. It's one of the best tickets in racing, and it's also one of NASCAR's most iconic tracks. Starting it off are the 2 Z-Max Cars Tour races. I love when the Cars Tour gets its chance to race at Wilkesboro, and I'm going to be there working the booth for that. There's also going to be the Pit Crew Challenge, presented by Mechanics Wear, the All-Star Heat Races, and the Window World 250 Craftsman Truck Series race, and a Jayco in concert all on Saturday, free for Saturday and Sunday ticket holders. If that isn't enough, how about the NASCAR Wheeling Modified Tour on the All-Star Sunday? They'll get the green flag right before the All-Star Open, where those guys that are trying to make the show for the biggest All-Star event in sports. There's never been an All-Star race weekend like this. So much racing all in one weekend. Get your tickets today at northwilkesborospeedway.com. Military personnel, first responders, law enforcement, teachers, and other government service personnel can save on tickets thanks to GovX. Visit northwilkesborospeedway.com for details. Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. NASCAR fans, you know the booming speeds when you see it. The Xfinity Wi-Fi, well, it's booming like the roar of a NASCAR engine on race day. It's as fast as a V8 engine and reliable as an elite pit crew TJ. Xfinity Wi-Fi gives you the power and speed of NASCAR in your home. Choose the right plan for you. You're off to the races with the best streaming experience for NASCAR and all your favorite sports because Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. It's booming. They don't just raise the bar, they stream in overdrive. Xfinity is a proud premier partner of NASCAR. I chose a plan, and then they came about a couple years later and gave me more speed without even having to charge me more for it. That's the kind of stuff you love. You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
This first one is from Danny, who wants to know, how did the TV rehearsal go for Prime?
Hey, Dale, you can talk about it now.
All right. So we were told we're not allowed to discuss this.
Yes, because we had
but
asked
now
you a question.
This is the part of
You're allowed.
the show where gates are open.
We wanted to do it live.
I had fun. It's a good time.
Great.
Oh,
Next question.
great. Nice question.
It was, the rehearsal's fun. It's easy. We go over to the NASCAR building. There's a NASCAR building. NASCAR Studios now has this nice, real big building over by the Concord Airport. Went over there, got into a room with all the monitors. It's where they do it's where they'll do
the CW
and stuff like that. Yeah. So when they're not at the track, and it's not too bad. Of course, you love looking out the window of the booth at the racetrack and seeing crashes happening in real time. But we had fun and felt natural, and I think we're gonna do good work. So
how did it work did you just talk the whole time, or were they mimicking commercial breaks or throwing it to people?
Yeah.
And
no, we didn't throw it to anybody. We had no pit reporters.
Right. Yeah.
So we did go to break through things like that.
Just
it was really stripped down.
Next points race, it's on you guys. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I've never done the 600. That's a great.
Oh yeah.
So that's a great way to get your feet back into the pool. Is just dive into the longest race of the year.
Seriously.
Right? I'm excited.
All right. This next question is from TJ on Twitter, but it's not TJ Majors.
Because I'm not.
But you can submit questions if you're interested. They want to know, what was it like singing with Kenny Chesney in front of the crowd at the 3 tribute concert at Daytona?
That was so long ago. I remember the weather being kind of iffy, and but every band that showed up was not deterred due to because of the weather. And some of these bands that were in this lineup were not not necessarily NASCAR fans, maybe didn't really know much about Dad, but they were asked to be there, and it felt like it wasn't a real concert, if that makes any sense. It kind of felt like we were just kind of throwing our own little party. But when the weather started getting weird, none of those acts were like, "Yep, we're gonna go on. We're not gonna go on until rain stops." Because there was electrical cords and all kinds of stuff out on the deck getting wet and potential for shock and all those things. But everybody went forward.
Do you remember the song?
Yeah, back where I come from. So, Kenny's a good friend. See him from time to time when we get down to Key West. He might have his boat there. Run, just if you see his boat out in the marina, hey, where you at? Run in, meet him at a bar, go drink beer, have fun. Great guy, easy guy to be around. Didn't really know him back then. I was very hesitant to go up on the side of the stage because I don't want to get drug out there in front of everybody. I don't want to sing I don't want to sing that song or any song in front of a crowd of people. I was scared to even go do a karaoke at a bar after 6 beers.
Right.
But he'll chug a beer on the Jumbotron, though. No problem.
That's different.
You have to.
That's
you
not
kind of
the
don't
same.
have a choice. Again, you don't have a choice. You're not looking to get on the Jumbotron. Kind of the same thing. But he didn't give me a choice. He drugged me out there, and then and we end up singing that song, and that's the way it goes. But I was nervous. I can look back 20 years and go, man, that looked fun. Boy, did you have fun? No, I was nervous to do it. Yeah. And then the other one that maybe that there isn't any, there might not be that much footage of. He came to concert in Charlotte, and we were kind of guests backstage. We're on the side of the stage, concert's going, and I'm standing there and I'm like, don't ask me to come out there. He, in between songs, go, come on, man, come on, waves me on out there. And I go out there in front of all these people, and we're standing side by side for a second, right? He's talking, hey, Dale Jr., hey, how y'all doing? And then, like a second later, I don't know where he's at. I'm standing there by myself.
You don't know where to go, or
he gets behind me, jumps on my back.
What?
Runs and jumps on my back, and almost went off the stage. Like, he jumped on my back, and I went forward and almost went into the pit at the front. I mean, literally, it was all I could do. Every muscle in my legs and my back to not fall over. And I was like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. It was so weird. But, yeah.
How long was he on your back
for? Second.
Oh, okay. He didn't sing a whole song.
No. Almost went down.
Yeah, I almost fell over, and I was like, holy smokes, man.
Kenny got off.
Did you ever figure out why he did that? Just for fun?
Just hyped.
Being Kenny?
Yeah. Kenny.
All right.
He's kind of, I don't know.
He brings the energy.
He does.
So, like,
yeah.
He's a performer.
Yeah.
Like, entertainer.
It was an interesting
moment. It is fun to watch him on stage. I mean,
2
songs in, he's already drenched in sweat because he's jumping up and down. He's running around. It's a good time.
Yeah. The other band that played, I don't know why I can't think of their name. This is bothering me.
At Kenny Chesney?
Yeah, they had that song, Iris.
Goo Goo Dolls?
Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
Goo Goo Dolls were there. And that was the band for me. Like, I was into alternative music, and Goo Goo Dolls had some big hits back then. This is 01, right at the back end, 01, and or 02, sometime around then. But they were the band that I was like, you guys have no idea why you're here, right? You have no clue who Dylan Hart. You never watched a lap, but I'm so glad that you're here, right? And they were the one that were like, when the rain was real bad, they were the one that went out there at the start of the weather and still performed. And I was like, man, that's cool. Because they could have been like, F this, I'm going to go to the hotel.
They wouldn't do that. You know where they're from? Buffalo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that was cool.
Tells you everything you need to know about them.
Yep. They wouldn't leave on that.
Yeah.
Heck no.
Absolutely
that felt
not.
cool. There were predictable bands, right? Like it was a Dale Earnhardt tribute deal, and there was some bands you go, yep, that's who I would expect to be there.
Goo Goo Dolls would not be
the Goo Goo Dolls.
No, for sure. Great band though.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, speaking of kind of, No Shoes Nation, the beach themes, this is from Bill. What's your favorite beach game aside from drinking? So like cornhole, spike ball, bocce.
Beach game?
What the hell is spike ball?
Oh no, you're not a spike ball guy.
Spike ball is
no.
I don't know how you describe it. Hey, this was in his question. Bocce?
I really don't even care.
Oh, all right.
I don't know what those are.
Oh, you got to learn.
I ain't gonna play games.
No?
No.
The only game he plays on the beach is move the shade thing when the sun moves. So you stay in the shade.
My game's moving my ass under the umbrella as the sun goes across the sky. That's
what do you call that thing? The shade thingy?
The umbrella?
Shaboomy or Shabam or I don't know.
It's an easy one person put up shade.
Dale is not breaking a sweat.
Try not to.
You never thrown a ball or a frisbee or anything?
I do like to throw softball, baseball, any kind of pitch.
Yeah. All right.
I do.
We'll
or football. That. Football's pretty fun.
Kite if the kids are there sometimes.
I do take kites out with the kids.
What about a frisbee?
Nope.
Yeah.
Not in frisbee.
guy.
No, they're more annoying than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I've thrown frisbee, but sometimes it's just like, I don't really know how to.
You end up just chasing it.
Yeah.
If you have a football, you should never throw a frisbee.
Were you a boogie boarder back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was good stuff.
Yeah.
You gonna do it now?
No, I'm not a boogie boarder these days. I don't really get in the water unless I got to go.
Oh.
Yeah. I sit up on that beach and drink all my beer, and I'll go down in there and get in the
not
water.
Not even to cool off? Or?
Yep. No, not really. I'm cool.
Yeah,
I'm cool out of the water.
You do have that shade.
Yep.
All right. Beach
Dude,
day
don't
sounds
get me
fun.
started. It's almost summer. My girl's, Alice's last day of school was Thursday.
Oh.
And my favorite thing to do from the start of June to the end of August is load all the shit I got on my little pull cart and take it out on the beach and set it up. Unfortunately, the rest of the family doesn't feel that way. They want to go out there and in 30 minutes they're ready to go back to the house. And I'm like, no, this is like a 4-hour thing, man. I got the cooler. I've packed the snacks. We got the food. We got the drinks.
The speaker.
Yeah.
The speaker.
You don't need a wagon for 30 minutes.
We got the toys and all the stuff. I'm like, let's go.
Beach is a solid 2 to 4 hour thing.
Oh, at least.
And we are like 200 feet, yards, whatever. We're very close.
To the water.
Far.
To the beach.
House.
Right, from the house.
It's like.
It couldn't be easier.
It couldn't be easier.
No.
Couldn't be easier.
Yeah, it couldn't be easier.
But
more convenient.
My family is not like an all-day beach family. I can't tell you how disappointed I am about that.
I got to be honest though, you don't look like an all-day beach type guy.
I have. Dude,
I'm just saying.
Listen to this. I have Budweiser beach chairs and umbrellas I have saved since 2000.
That doesn't make you look like a
that
beach
doesn't
goer.
mean you're a beach goer.
I'm just saying, like I'm 25 years of preparation for my 4-hour beach days.
I mean, so
I've
Budweiser sent him.
I'm pulling out of my warehouse.
So Budweiser sent him a bunch of free stuff. Doesn't mean you're a beach guy.
That I've saved forever.
It sounds like you didn't use it enough.
I didn't live on a beach.
Because you're not a beach goer.
What the hell are we? What are we arguing about?
I don't know. Yeah, but Dale literally is saying he's a beach goer.
I know,
he is now. He definitely
is now, but I'm
Andrew,
saying you don't look.
These guys will sit here and just argue with the person that's saying anything to be arguing with him.
Yeah,
even if it means 5 minutes later they flip their argument to the other side.
I'll flip it here in a minute.
Okay.
Isn't that a good thing that we're willing to admit that we were wrong?
When did you do that?
When we were talking about Carson Hocevar.
You're speaking for yourself because I'm not admitting that.
Carson
never
Hocevar.
admits
I am
that.
not admitting
You
that.
just admitted that you were going to flip, TJ.
Carson Hocevar.
Yeah, but I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need a talking to everybody in the chat. We need
community notes.
We need Dirty Mo Media to put out a post. My man's gonna do it right here. Beach.
That's it. That's the tweet.
Beach day, right? Beach day. Is this 30 minutes or is this 4 hours? You get to pick. No in between. You're going to the beach. Are you out there for 4 hours or is this a 30-minute trip? Let's see what the answer is.
It's going to be a landslide.
Boy,
4 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to feel like I'm...
Because to your point, why would you pack? Going to the beach is such an effort.
Amy's like, we don't need to pack all this. We're not going to be out there that long. I'm like, we're not? Damn it.
I know.
What day are we going to go out there and be out there?
He's right. He's got this wagon, and he's got so much in this wagon.
They can go to and from the house, right? So that's pretty easy.
Yeah, but he's not.
Nope.
He's staying.
Dude, I'm sitting down and I ain't moving.
I know. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, if we go to the beach, we're sitting under that shade for hours.
I like to sit there and judge everybody else's layout.
Run that battery dead in your speaker.
What they got. That's kind of
You're
nice.
the guy that brings like the cheap speaker to the beach, right?
I don't think it's a cheap speaker.
Well,
no.
Like
it ain't my best.
I remember you
Oh,
saying
you
said like
I got
2 years ago, like I try and bring like the cheapest, like for the nostalgic feel.
Yeah. So I've got this radio. I bought it off Amazon. It's like $19, cheap as you can get.
All right, that's a cheap speaker.
It just gets FM and AM, right?
Right. Yeah.
And there's a local radio station. They play everything, and so you can turn that on and you set it and forget it. But you also have to have a Bluetooth, but you don't take your best Bluetooth to the beach. This thing's gonna get a little sand in it.
Yeah.
So you got a line. If you got a little line of Bluetooth speakers, take the one maybe not so good.
A bunch of people are saying it's an all-day thing, 4 hours. That's what I'm seeing in the YouTube
4+.
chat. Yeah. Although someone said after 30 minutes at the beach, I'm bored and ready to move on to something else.
That's Amy and the girls. And the girls.
Is Amy in the chat?
Amy's not in the chat unless she has a burner account. Oh man. All right, good stuff. So, beach game following the sun.
I'm pumped though. Y'all got me excited for summer.
Oh, it's here.
This year's summer is gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah, it is.
I was talking to Isla on the way to school today about how badass the last day of school was. Her last day of school was Thursday. And she's just now into the school thing. She's a first grader. And I'm like, man, she's so sad. She's like, I don't want to go to school. I'm like, you got 2 days, then you're done for the summer. And the last day of school is the best.
Yeah. That's like
this is the second to last day. You probably ain't got to do any hard stuff today.
No.
the last week.
No, the last week is
amazing.
nothing. Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
Isla,
yeah.
everybody's happy on the last day of school. She's like, really? She's like, when you were in school? I was like, yeah, we were happy. She's like, 9th grade? I was like, every grade. All the grades. We were happy. Last day of school. All the kids. Everybody in school was happy. She was like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's last day of school. Off for summer. Have you not seen Grease?
Oh boy.
That's how it should have. That's how it is. Remember everybody coming out, running out of school, and then there's a carnival at the school. It's like, what is
It's
going
a
on?
celebration.
What school is this?
Yeah.
But that was imprinted in my mind. The last day of school
Like, this is what it's like.
that's what it's like.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shamalama ding dong. Y'all remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You've never. I'm too
I've
old.
never seen
Yeah,
Grease.
you haven't seen Grease.
Yeah, there's no
Y'all gotta
way.
watch it. Man.
You can call him
It's a
kid.
great movie.
Travis might never even seen it
I've
either.
seen Grease.
Yeah, awesome movie. Good
Haven't
music.
been to Grease
Good soundtrack.
either.
But dude, the last day of school, they get out of Rydell High and they go out the front door of the school, and there's a gigantic like county fair with rides and all kinds of. And it's like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
where does this happen?
We never
Not
had
my
that.
school.
No, I've never
Yeah.
seen that before.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah.
They'd always play music through like the loudspeakers at the final bell, and like you wouldn't go with a backpack or anything.
You know, there probably is a
Oh, it's the
school.
best.
There probably is a school that has the carnival in town
Yeah.
or the fair in town when they get out. You know what I mean? And it is probably like that. Might not be right across from the school, but there's probably a town that does have it.
Yeah.
Never mind though,
All right.
or yours.
We're not
Well-
getting to many questions today.
That's
Yes,
okay.
all right,
Sorry,
well-
everybody.
Quality over quantity.
Well, yeah, but the YouTube chat, they are
No, we're just
participating.
running our mouths.
Tara says,
Grease
I
is the
love
word.
Grease. Huh?
Grease is the word.
Sorry, that's part
Grease
of the
is
song.
the word?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Martha from Miami commented that exact thing. Grease is the word.
One world, one goal says that too.
Yeah. No, that is Martha in
Oh.
Miami.
Sorry.
She's the best. Let's go to question from Facebook. Kevin wants to know, how do most drivers What?
No.
No,
I'm just
what?
reading these comments from about Grease. It's awesome. What a fantastic movie. You need to see it.
I do have to
Honestly, I
watch
think you'll love it.
Yeah,
You will love it.
it. Okay.
Yep.
All right. It's on my list.
maybe.
This question's from Kevin. How do most drivers decompress after a race?
Everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
How did
Yeah.
you do it then?
I drink.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what we figured the
I
answer
catch
was
a
going
lot
to
of
be.
hell for how much I talk about drinking beer and all that, but I know that it's probably annoying to some people. But my, I was full of adrenaline after a race, and I just was like, so my weekend was working. I didn't have a weekend really. Like everybody, works during the week, and then
Sunday was Friday night.
Yeah, you're like Saturday and Sunday. I got off. I'm gonna watch the race. I'm gonna do whatever I want, mow my yard, whatever. Right? You're gonna have fun, go fishing. I didn't really have a weekend, and so we would do our work during the week and prepping for the race. Then we'd go work on the race weekend, and so as soon as the race was over, I was like, hell yeah, I'm ready to blow off some steam, raise some hell. No one else was really ready to do that because you come home and everybody's like, yep, Sunday night, getting ready for work tomorrow, boy, we're gonna take it easy.
Yeah,
I'm worn out from my fun this weekend. But you get home and you're like ready to stand on the gas. And so I'd call around to some friends that were also in the industry, and they're flying home from the race, and they'd come over to the house, and we'd set up till 4 a.m, sometimes see the sun come up, just drinking, listening to music all Sunday night.
Damn.
Before I traveled, first time I moved down here, he used to call on the way home when I lived in that little gray house with D. Neal, and he'd call on the way home, and we it was Sunday night, drink and hang out.
Yeah.
Like that was like Friday.
Sunday night, was the whole Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend smashed into like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then you'd get up Monday and have to, shake off a hangover and get back to the routine.
What we like though when you're like the traveling, were you already starting like immediately after the race? Like, are you need a moment to get over a race or what?
No. Like if I finished bad?
Yeah.
If I finished bad, I was mad until the next race. Like if I finished bad, I wanted to start the next race immediately. As soon as I got out of that car, I wanted to start the next race to be able to try to redeem myself and get myself happy again.
Yeah.
It was like your own personal your own personal happiness, your own personal depression. Like if you ran bad, you were in a depressed state until you got a chance to change that by another result. And so you might go weeks where you're just like in the worst place mentally because of how things are going in your professional life. And when you had a great race, you rode that high until the next race, and you're like, all right, now we got to have another great race. And you lived race to race to race emotionally. I don't know that every driver does that. Some people look at it. Some people look at their lives or their existence in a broader sense, and
well, it depends if you've got, wife, kids, that all that changes everything.
Back then I really didn't have anything else but my professional stuff. And so I rode every emotion dependent upon how that last lap went in the car. Right. And, kind of a shitty way to do it, but I didn't,
It's tough mentally.
That's the way I was built.
It's tough mentally when things don't go good for a while. I mean, it's very tough.
Oh, yeah.
Like, very tough.
That has to be difficult, like, when you win, but it's only, like, you can enjoy it for, like, a week.
No.
Like, no?
It was awesome.
Yeah? Well,
nothing about winning was difficult. Nobody's ever going to believe that either.
It
so
doesn't
we're not
go away.
Sit here and talk about it because nobody on the other end.
But it's like, but you got to start focusing on the next week, and it's
no,
like...
you don't.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah,
you know what?
Doesn't suck.
You win that race, you'd win on Sunday, and then go to the competition meetings, and you're sitting in that competition meeting, and your teammates are around, and you're like, yeah, talk about y'all's race, boys, because I got all kinds of great stuff to say when it's my turn. And I'm going to go last. I'm the winner. And, oh, man, everything went good. And then you go back to the racetrack the next week, and all the media wants to do is ask you about your great weekend.
Yeah. Starts off on a high note
questions.
still.
And all the industry, not drivers, but all the industry mechanics, they're all seeing you for the first time since that win.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, good job, man. Hey, awesome run last week. It's fun.
It has a lasting effect.
It does.
All right. That is a good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. All right. Well, that's a good place to wrap Ask Junior this week.
Thank you, Xfinity, for bringing us today's Ask Junior segment. Be sure to check out Xfinity Wi-Fi and experience the booming speeds for yourself. Their Wi-Fi service is fast. And for NASCAR fans, we know you love fast. Xfinity Wi-Fi is not just fast, it is booming. That's their new slogan.
Booming.
Booming. Choose the right plan for you, and you're off to the races with the best streaming experience in NASCAR and all your favorite sports because Xfinity Wi-Fi is
booming.
They just don't raise the bar. They stream in overdrive. Xfinity, the proud premier partner of NASCAR. They do a good job here, man. We appreciate them. Hey, it's Dale Jr. Did you know that we've got brand new merch from our Stars, Stripes, and Beers collection available now? We've got tanks, tees, beach towels, and more just in time for summer. Check it all out at shop.dirtymomedia.com. All right, it's time for Dirty Mo Dough, and joining us is the professor. Joined us last week. Russell, thanks for tuning in. Also, Tampa Tim's is here. This segment of Dirty Mo Dough is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's kick-ass. That's not their slogan, but I just say it. I like to say stuff. I like to say stuff like that. You know what else is kick-ass? Car store. The car store.
Oh, yeah.
We have Tampa Tim's, and we got to talk about some of the bets you made. You cashed a bet, Barry over Keselowski. Boy, you bet you were nervous about that for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Till that left rear tire exploded going into turn one.
Appreciate it, TJ. Thank you.
Did you celebrate on that?
I did.
Yeah,
a little
what
bit.
a jerk.
Just a minor fist pump.
You took a loss on the Denny Hamlin for top 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
That sucks.
And then Justin Haley, top 10 at plus 1,100.
Yeah. He was around there kind of all day. It was close.
Yep. And Russ, you warned us about betting on 2311. Man, were you right. What a struggle for those guys.
I thought they would run better.
What a struggle.
Yeah, they were right outside the top 10 all day.
Yeah, worse than that. What bet did I have? I had a top 10
You
parlay.
did, and it cashed. It was, It was Barry, Bowman, and Busher.
Yeah.
Oh!
Heck yeah.
Woo! Who's the man? Now everybody throw your money in there.
I'm not going to lie. It's the first thing I thought about when I saw that top 10. I'm like, oh, my God.
Hey.
It cashed.
I mean, dude, I'm happy for everybody. I can't bet this but everybody else gets to win. Yay! Who here tailed my awesome idea?
I would never, but now I have to.
No one.
No.
I know it.
I want to see if anybody did.
Why would the guy who's done this all his life know anything about this?
Last week you had Stenhouse, Eric Jones, and somebody else in it.
We're
That's
trying to
why.
make money. All right.
Hey, all right. Congratulations.
Damn it.
I reluctantly saw
I
that.
need to know. There's got to be a person that
Somebody did it.
Please,
tailed
someone tweet at us.
Yeah.
Please. I want to see the cash.
All right. This weekend it's the All-Star race. The lines aren't out yet. It's hard to handicap the field because it's a new track relatively. We're not really sure what we're going to get. Logano went there and destroyed the field last year. Some great racing back in the pack, but Logano had the whole field covered for the most part. How do you play this? How do you even have fun with this? What are the fun things to do? Obviously, I'm bored to death by betting a pure favorite. So let's find something fun.
I don't. With no odds, it's tough to know, but I think I'm just going to hammer Josh Berry and have fun. I mean, he's probably not going to be one of the favorites. He's obviously a great short track guy. He's got speed this year.
His numbers will be preferable to making a bet. Yeah, okay.
What do you think, Russ?
I struggle with that one. He hasn't been very good on the short tracks lately.
Yeah,
he's got one top 5 on the short tracks in his Cup career, and that was with the 48 team back at Richmond.
Yep. Well, tell us what you're leaning toward.
Well, the favorites have to be Hendrick or Penske guys. They've won the last 5. Larson and Logano have won 5 of the last 9. Logano would be the number 1 choice for me. He's won this twice, including last year. Like you said, he dominated. He's been top 10 the last 10 All-Star races, which that's the longest streak of all time. Then Larson, he's won 3 of his last 5 All-Star starts, but he's coming from Indy, so I don't know how much. He's not going to get any practice or anything. So, but I think the same thing happened last year. He finished 4th, and he's won 2 of the last 4 short track races this season are in the Cup Series. So,
yep.
You can go with Blaney's another guy I like to watch. Like he's won 3 of the last 10 short track races. He finished 5th and 6th here in the past. And to go, he's on Penske, so I like the Penske bandwagon. And then, Toyota's kind of struggled in the All-Star race lately, last 2017. But I like Denny of all those guys. He's been 1st and 2nd in the short track races the last two two short track races. He was runner-up in this race last year. He's had speed all year too. So,
but if you like the Penske guys, you can't throw Josh Berry in there as a long shot. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
You can, but he just hasn't performed on the short tracks.
Who's your long shots?
Well, it's not your guy. I would stay away from your guy, Brad.
Yeah.
Damn.
I wouldn't.
You didn't have to even say that.
No.
That was so unnecessary.
Yeah. Dang. Tell me something I don't know all year.
Whoa, TJ, hey, you want to keep your job?
I mean, if something can happen, it's going to happen to us, obviously.
You're supposed to deny that, TJ.
I mean, facts are facts.
We're going to be good.
We are going to be good. But I want to know his long shots. I think Priest is a long shot. I think that's a good one.
Hold on. TJ, how many top fives do you have in a short tracks in the next gen car, do you think, Brad?
0.
I mean, 1, 2.
It's 1.
Yeah, Martinsville.
Hey, I was close.
Martinsville?
Y'all laugh. I was close, man.
You were.
But, I mean, we were leading Bristol when the tire blew.
It was actually Bristol.
Oh, no. We finished decent at Martinsville 2-3 years ago.
Jesus Christ. Where are we going?
I don't know.
Russell, where are you going with this?
He asked me a question.
TJ's trying to ask you. TJ has asked you repeatedly for your underdog.
Yeah.
And we know you're the numbers guy. We know you're the expert.
I don't like any underdogs to win.
Damn it. There he said it. Don't bet the underdogs this week.
No. Well, TJ, when you said Ryan Priest, I actually am weary about guys that have to qualify their way in because I don't know if they're going to be able to get up to the front like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I like Bubba. He's had good runs here, but because he's had to qualify his way in the Open, I don't know if that's a great bet.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. If Priest gets in, I think he's a good at a long shot. But this race is so gimmicky, and the one person that shines.
How dare you?
It's very gimmicky, and the person that shines the gimmicky races is Joey Logano most of the time.
Yeah,
it's
also
he
gives.
You had to on the event to get to your point. I can appreciate it.
I mean, I didn't say it was a bad event. I said it's gimmicky.
Okay, gimmicky's a trigger word around.
It's an all-star race. I mean,
he's
it's
a
just
kid.
Yeah, that kid.
So the other thing to look at is Bell. They have that pit crew competition this week.
Yeah.
That's part of the qualifying. And Bell's team has won that the last 2 years.
Yeah, they were with Denny and they were with the Gibbs kid the year before. Yeah. Now they're his team.
Correct.
So can you bet them to win it 3 years in a row?
I don't know if you can bet on that. No, I don't think you can.
Why'd
you bring that up then?
Who's the hot pit crews right now? Who came off Kansas hot?
Hey, did y'all hear who had a good parlay this weekend? I'm bringing it back. I'm going to bring us back. All right? Why would we care about Bell's pit crew? So he could qualify well?
Well, he'll qualify well, and then if it comes down to a pit stop, then he's going to have the advantage.
Who's been the top 5 pit crews?
I mean, Joey Logano's team was fastest last week at Kansas.
But for the season, Russ,
for
do you
the
have
season,
that?
I had
Joe Gibbs has been kicking ass.
Yeah, Bubba, Ty Gibbs, Denny, then Busher, and Kyle Larson's team.
I think Bubba's team had the fastest stop at Kansas too, overall.
Denny's team's got that new jack maneuver to go.
Oh, really? You'd know all about it.
Just saying.
Yeah,
I want to bet on that.
You're excited about that, aren't you? Oh boy.
I was cooking dinner for Denny. He told me about this new jack maneuver we're doing. It's fast.
All right. Well, what did we learn from this segment?
Bet the favorites.
Bet the favorites.
Christopher Bell won the pit crew challenge.
Yep.
Yep.
Bet the favorites. Bet the favorites.
Next week we'll be able to break a full race down though.
There's got to be one long shot. Just one. Can you give us one? Just one.
I'm telling you,
TJ, I
Josh
think
Berry.
you gave us one. Josh Berry.
I think you can bet top fives in this one too. Ryan Priest wouldn't be a bad top five if he advances.
I think I'm going to put Larson,
Oh no,
Logano, and who else should we add to our top 5 parlay?
nobody.
Yep.
Blaney.
All right.
Yeah.
Larson. Yeah, I will because
What about Busher?
No. Blaney, Blaney kicked some ass at the Clash. Had a pretty fast car. So I'm going to go Blaney, Logano, Larson for a 3 3-car parlay for their top 5s.
Oh, Larson, Priest, and Barry.
Dude, that's like
swinging for the fence.
Betting,
that's a big one.
We're betting on the majority of the top 5 finishers to, yeah. It's pretty risky.
It's risky,
very risky,
but it's the All-Star race. It's supposed to be fun.
It is the All-Star, yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna bet the. Bet a favorite for a win.
I'll tell you this week. How about that?
Shit. Okay. Should have told it last week. You'd all be big winners.
I need that.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, that's the end of the Dirty Mo Dough segment presented to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is the premier gaming destination in the United States. Thank you, Russell, for coming in, gracing us with your presence and expert analysis.
Expert.
I appreciate his honesty. He's like,
he's straight up.
Underdog.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
No champ.
All right, it's time for the white flag. The teardown was live after the race on Twitter and YouTube reacting to Larson's win. And on Monday, the Actions Detrimental came out with Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch was a guest on the show. It's awesome when Denny has a guest, especially somebody as dynamic as Kyle Busch. He had a lot of great things to say. Door Bumper Clear had an awesome show as well this week. Another RCR driver on hand as a guest there with Austin Dillon. Herman Schrader and Speed Street come out tomorrow. My interview with Aaron Plessinger also drops on Wednesday. For those who don't know who he is, he's a professional motocross racer. These dudes are wild. I can't wait to sit down with him and learn all about that sport. And Thursday's another episode of Bless Your Heart with my wife, Amy. The Dale Jr. Foundation's annual Win Dale Jr. Ride Raffle is underway. This year we are giving away a 2025 Chevy Tahoe that is loaded up with some of Amy and I's favorite things. We've got some hats that I have. You can't get them anywhere. They're hats that I've had made. We got a beach shade, a slushy machine, JBL speaker, just to name a few. You can see a social media video of all the things that we put in the back of this Tahoe, and I think you'll want to check that out because it's really pretty cool. But I also should mention that the foundation is going to cover all the taxes on the winner for the car and purchase a $25 raffle ticket for your chance to win. Head over to www.thedalejrfoundation.org. www.thedalejrfoundation.org for more information and to purchase your ticket. We'll see you tomorrow.